If you have any respect for the game of football, you can't have a Bruno in your team because he ruins the game of football, bruv. Like he ruins it. Like literally, like everything we do, he ruins it, bro. Yo, people, what's going on? Again, back-to-back settings. Adam's in the building, bruv. How you been, bro?
I'm all right. It's been a while, bro. How you doing? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, bruv. Can't complain, man. I can't complain, bruv. That last day of the season was, bruv, that was emotional.
So it was weird, wasn't it? It was pretty weird. Like we got everything we wanted, but we had nothing to do with it, which is pretty embarrassing.
Bro, but this is it, innit? Like, this is the first... It's the most uninvolved I've felt as a Manchester United fan, yeah, on the last day of the season for some time, bro. Like, uninvolved, bro. Like, I think the season before we were playing Leicester, and was that the season before that? And we had to beat Leicester to finish in the top 4, and then we finished in the top 4 or something. Yeah. I think that was 2 seasons ago. Yeah. But we've always been playing for something, innit?
Yeah.
And now it was Europa or Conference League. You know, it was like, what the fuck? Like, man, it was so irrelevant.
Right. It's embarrassing. And you know what? To be honest with you, like I realized only last week that the season was not over. Like it took me a while to clock. Oh, you know what? Everton might get relegated, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's funny." And then like City and Liverpool going like for the last game of the season it could have been a very, very, very interesting end of the season if we were involved, and we managed we just managed to be even more embarrassing than we've been, and that's no small feat. We've been.
It's not, bro.
He can't with his left. He tried with his left one. That means the self-awareness is non-existent. And this is, I've said it for time with Bruno. He doesn't know what he can do, and he doesn't know what he can't. So he just
deluded.
You know what? Exactly. They said he could play false 9. Yeah, I suppose so.
Bro, he's horrible. You know what I'm saying? And this is what it is, yeah. Like Bruno, what Bruno does, yeah, like, bro, it defies all logic, yeah. Like, how is he even a professional footballer, bro? Like, I'm gonna be real, yeah. Like, as much as
it's a legitimate
as much as I slander, yeah, like a lot of these players, bro, like, and don't get me wrong, like, literally, like, man has not played Prem. Like, I was in Premier League Academy and that. Man never played first team Premier League, but I've played professionally with professionals. And bro, that you need a certain level of basic ability, you would think, to be a professional footballer. You would think. This guy's worse. The guy's worse than anyone I've ever played with, bro. And he's playing in the Premier League. I don't know, bro. There's guys that I've played with on like 7-a-side on a Wednesday night that are better than Bruno Fernandes, bro. Like just 100%, the basics. 100%. Just the basics, bro. Easy. I coach a team full of players that are all better than him on the ball. All of them.
Do you know how many family members I have that can play instead of Bruno?
Bro. Like all of them. All of my players can do the basic things he can't do. Man said, did I play with Cams? Cams is better on the ball than Bruno comfortably, bro. Cams can play ball, bro. And he's a centre back.
Well, of course.
I'm not even bullshitting you. Cams can ping a ball better than Bruno. He could pass better than him. No bullshit.
Hold on. Just a minute. I think I have something. Just a second. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem, bro. Like, legit, I'm going to be real with you. Bruno, like, technique-wise, he's very poor. Very poor, bro. Like, when it comes to the fundamentals of football and receiving a football and shielding a football and passing a football, bro, he plays like, I don't know. I know maybe 5-6-year-olds that are probably have better technical security than Bruno Fernandes, bro. Like, and I mean it. I mean it, bro. Like, I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. There's no nice way of saying how bad he is at football. I don't know how he's made it this far. I really don't know. And this is the problem with stats. Like, stats have got him to the point where he's playing for Manchester United and he's been found out because now he's in the eye. He's in the public eye now. He's in front of more players than more cameras, more sets of eyes than he's ever been in front of. And he's awful. And the reason why he got to where he is now is because he puts up good numbers, bro. And because when you put up good numbers, anyone that hasn't watched football will think that you got something about you. That's all it is. If anyone actually watched Bruno and scouted him thoroughly, they wouldn't sign him because he's not good at anything. And it sounds weird when you see his numbers for you to say he's not good at anything. But if you watch the game, you can see he's literally not good at anything.
Anything. Like, I challenge someone to tell me. First touch? Nope. Left foot? Clearly not, like we just see. He can't dribble. He can't make a good decision. He can't pick the right pass. He has absolutely no inhibition, no self-control whatsoever. He will always pick the quick, urgent, over-the-top option. He's just like, I don't think he's a good. I don't particularly dislike him as a player, as a man. Let's say, I just don't think he's a good player.
Well, I don't know him as a man, but he dives and he moans, and I don't like that. That's why I don't like Luka Doncic, bruv. And he's a great player. Do you know what I'm saying? But I don't like Luka because he's a crybaby. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I don't like Bruno. But the difference is Luka can play. You get me? If Luka was going around blaming his teammates, yeah, I could kind of understand because he's fucking carrying them, bro. Like, I see someone talking about Luka and they were saying, do you know what I mean? The difference between him and Steph is, do you know what I'm saying? Steph don't have to bring everything to the barbecue. Do you know what I'm saying? He can just bring the condiments, bro, and he can bring the plates because he's got other players to bring the food. Luka's got to bring the fucking barbecue, the food, the ketchup, everything, because he's everything. You know what I mean? Bruno's nothing. So what the fuck is he complaining about?
You could say the same about Bruno, bro. He carried us for 2 years. He carried us for 2 years, apparently.
So why is he not carrying us now? Because if he was carrying us for so long, usually what happens when you're carrying a team is when you get better players around you, yeah, it makes your life easier and you should be doing better. So why is he doing worse now?
I've got 100%. You know what?
It's because we were carrying him.
No, he's just not good, bro. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. So, of course, he's got the only... And it might sound weird, but I think the only reason him and Rashford were putting up any numbers was because we had a penalty every 3 games. We had 1 pen every 3 games. Like, we had 47 pens in 150 games with Ole. And most of them are Martial or Dan James.
Shit.
You know how bad?
I didn't know it was that bad, bro.
47 pens in 150 games. Yeah, that's basically a pen every 3 games. So, of course, he's going to put up great numbers. But the way I judge players, to be honest, is, of course, I look at them, how they play. Do they actually play football? And the main thing is, do they make the people around them better? That's the most important thing for me. Because if I put Martial in a team, he may not be the best player, but at least the players surrounding him usually tend to improve. The same thing with Mata, the same thing with Matic, the same thing with Pogba as well. The same thing with Varane. People say Lindelof had a great season. I think Varane is a good defender, but Lindelof being good has more to do with playing next to Varane than it has to Lindelof being that great. And when you play Lindelof and Maguire, they are
it's true. When you put Lindelof next to Maguire, you can't see who's worse. Do you know what I'm saying? Exactly. And that's what it is.
Remember, before Bruno came in, we had Pereira and Lingard. And every time I watched Pereira play, I thought Lingard was better. And then every time I watched Lingard, I thought Pereira was better. I was like, well, those two, they are doing my head in. Like, who's worse? And so, of course, when you had that, Bruno scoring goals made it feel like, oh, Bruno is so clear. It's just because he shoots. That's basically all it is. And he takes pens.
Yeah.
I don't see it, man.
Yeah. 100%. And they said, Rants, don't you think he was good at running into spaces like non-tech? You know what it is, yeah? It doesn't take intelligence to score goals that Bruno scores because he just literally runs towards the goal. I've never seen a Bruno Fernandes. I've never seen a Bruno go and I thought, yo, that's super clever movement. He's peeled off at the back post, then come across the front post and scored. Do you know what I mean? Like, bro, that's not intelligent movement. All of his goals are running in a straight line. Someone puts the ball over and he's through on goal because he's doing the runs that the centre forward should be doing. Do you know what I'm saying? And obviously, your midfield runner is not going to track you all the way into the box because he can be like, all right, cool, he's not my man anymore. You know what I mean? Once you get past a certain point, your runner will stop tracking you because you're a midfielder.
Exactly. You know, I don't think he's good at running into space. He's good at running. So basically, like, he's so everywhere on the pitch that no one knows what they should do with him. Like when you are a left back and you have Bruno, you're like, what is he doing there? Like, I'm supposed to have a winger or a fullback to cover, and I have to cover this guy. And then you see Bruno at right back, then you see Bruno like in midfield, like just everywhere, all over the place. But I'm glad that Erik ten Hag got to see this in the actual game, because he must be thinking to himself, boy, oh boy, because there were leaks, I don't know, like 3 weeks ago, or not leaks, maybe reports, that Ten Hag is a big fan of Bruno and he considered him a part of his plans or whatever. And I just don't know if those people like writing those reports have ever watched a Ten Hag team. But Bruno doesn't fit in. Like people say, like, do you imagine Bruno playing for Pep?
Oh, bro, you can't play for, you can't play for any manager with that has self-respect. Let's be honest, innit? Because, like, as a manager, bro, I'm gonna be real. As a manager, the style of football that your team plays is part of your identity, bro. It defines you. Managers get judged by how their team play, not just by winning things. Because even when Jose won stuff, people still criticize the way he played, and it defined him. That's what created that siege mentality. Because Jose was the ugly duckling of football. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the way your team plays defines you. If you have any respect for the game of football, you can't have a Bruno in your team, because he ruins the game of football, bruv. Like, he ruins it. Like literally, like everything we do, he ruins it, bro.
Yeah, it's not an enjoyable sport. It really isn't. Like, there's no subtlety, there's no elegance to it. Because look, football, sports in general, is very closely related to art, and art has to be smooth, and sport has to be smooth. This is why some players are just like, you can't explain why people like Berbatov, for example, or Isco or Thiago, or those, because it's just something about them that is just beautiful and effective, because they bring other players into the team and they actually win trophies. So it's not just about people's, it's not only about being good on the eye. No. It's about being a good footballer. And there's this like contradiction, or at least this duality, I think people make out. It's either you are effective or you are pleasing on the eye, which is the biggest load of shit I've ever heard. Because usually when the team plays well, the team wins. How can it be otherwise? How can you play well and be dead?
Yeah, but these excuses only came in, from modern football fans, to try and make excuses for players that were horrendous to watch, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what it was, because maybe 10 years ago, you didn't have to choose between effectiveness, and the eye test. And also, just because you don't get loads of goals and assists, that doesn't mean that you're not effective. Does that mean Zidane wasn't effective as a footballer because he didn't get double figures goals and double figures assists every season? That doesn't mean he wasn't effective. Do you know what I'm saying? You can influence, 100%. You can very much influence the game of football in many, many ways without scoring or assisting. And the problem with this now is people think that if you're scoring or assisting, not only does that mean that you're affecting the game more than someone who's not, which is not the case. Because there's many times where the worst player on the pitch has scored the goal. Many times.
It's been our
many times it happens. Years. But this is what happens. It happens for us. It happens for other clubs. Do you know what I'm saying? It happens for Liverpool all the time. Mo Salah is always the worst player on the pitch, but he's their top scorer. He's fucking awful. Do you know what I mean? And that's just what it is. You watch the guy, he's fucking awful. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's one of the worst players that I've had the pleasure of watching. Yeah, that's at the top of the game, bro. Like, terrible. Like, I don't know how he's there. Like, legit, I don't know how, but he's there, innit? Like, but he's there. Credit to Jurgen Klopp, one of the best managers in the world. He's a terrible player to watch. Terrible. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but they're winning trophies. Because if they weren't winning trophies or at least competing at the very, bro, do you think it would happen? No one would be having a conversation about Salah. Not a chance. And look, for example, talking about Jay, I think you're making a very, very good point again. Is I think our team scores the most goal when Matic plays. And now you're telling me that Matic is one of the best creators. Of course not. He's just a good player.
That's not why.
Good passer.
Exactly.
Like
that's what I mean, because he gives you more. He gives you a better foundation to build off, and also he progresses the ball forward and he breaks the lines from deep, which is why we score more goals. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not because he's the best creator. It's because he gives you a foundation to build off. And that is why stats will only tell you one thing. Stats will tell you what happened. It won't tell you how it happened or why it happened. Do you know what I'm saying? And how and why are the more important things, especially when you're a manager. Because if you don't know how and why things happened, you're pissing in the wind, mate. You don't know what's going on. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's all well and good saying, oh, cool, this happened. But if you don't know how it happened and why it happened, then you can't repeat these things, innit?
Exactly. Like I gave the example when Oli was in charge and people said, like, you're scoring goals and this and that. I'm like, yo, the problem with that guy is when we score goals and when we win, he doesn't even know how and why we did it. So why are Oli gonna socialize substitution so bad? Well, it's like, it's like, for example, I always gave this example, like, you know, when you're at school, when you're a kid or whatever, and you're trying to build bridge in science class with wooden sticks and stuff, like just activities that children do. You don't have the engineering knowledge or to build actual bridges, so you just go and you just work it out. But if it starts cracking because it can't hold the weight, or you don't know how to fix it because you don't have that knowledge to do it, so somehow it was holding. But if it cracks, you don't know how to fix it because you're just guessing all along. And this is basically what happens. We were just guessing with Rashford and Bruno. So now that we actually have problems and we can't score goals, we can't play, we can't defend, well, what happens then? We don't know how to fix it.
But this is what it is, and that's what I mean. That comment was quality. Like, final action players, are taking over football, innit? Like, and that's where the beautiful game's gone. Do you know what I mean? Because the beauty in the beautiful game used to be in the artistry. There was a reason why, when I was growing up, the most sought after, the most prestigious players were the number 10s, because those were the creators. They weren't necessarily the goal scorers. Do you know what I mean? They were the Dennis Bergkamps as opposed to the Ian Wrights or the Henrys and that. Do you know what I mean? It was the creators, the guys that used to make the game not only good to watch, but these were the guys that had something in their locker that nobody else had. These were the special players.
Exactly.
And now, in the modern game, final action, the guy that's tapping the ball into the goal is now the most prestigious player in the team, even though he's not the best player. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, football's never been about numbers. It's never been about that. Do you know what I mean? Like, literally, the players that made you get out your seat, bro. The goal scorers don't necessarily make you get out your seat. Ruud van Nistelrooy never had man on the edge of my seat, but I knew I was getting goals with him. He was never my favorite player in that Man United team. Never. Do you know what I mean? People would rather see Ryan Giggs running and nutmegging people and stuff like that, rather than seeing Ruud van Nistelrooy score a 2-yard tapping. Like, Ruud van Nistelrooy was never seen as the face of that Man United team, even though he was the top scorer every year, because there was something in the game where there was more to the game than goals, and it's disappeared. It's disappeared somehow.
It's gone.